morning. Thank you to Tanker Operator for arranging this, and to the sponsors for that lovely tea break that we had and the lunch that we are looking forward to. Okay, I'm going to talk about managing bunker fuel losses to make money in tough markets. Captain Mukherjee in his presentation said that saving bunker fuel is one of the primary things of making money in these tough markets. Now I'm just going to show you what this is, and if you're already not making money in these tough markets, I will endeavor to, through this presentation, convince you to some extent that there is a way that if you're not already making money, you will probably start making money using some of these things. Maybe not in a year, not in a year, not in 6 months, not in 3 months, tomorrow. Just try and use these. Believe you me, we have been doing this for the past 8 years, and we have been substantially successful. We've got some of our clients here in this gathering here, and they will endorse it. So, we're talking about tough markets, and to understand the tough markets, let's start by looking at what is the ship owner's paradise. What is his dream? What would he look for? Yeah? Now, he would like to look for a freight curve which is something like this, going up and up and up. This is what his wish curve would be. Let's have a freight curve going up. Once in a way come down, yeah, just to keep the competition away. People from other industries don't just pour in. So, yeah, it comes down also. But then again, go back up. And then as far as the bunker prices are concerned, they would like to look at something which is scraping the bottom. Competition doesn't look at the bunker prices, they look at the freight. Competition doesn't look at it. Let it keep scraping the bottom. This is what they would look at. But what they actually get is, and this is what they're getting, tanker markets, this is a very similar curve to what Captain Mukherjee showed some time ago. They've been scraping the bottom, and if it's not the tanker markets, it's also the bulk markets. Exactly the same story happening with the bulk carrier markets. Yeah? And when we talk about the fuel prices have by and large been all the way up. They came down a bit, gave the ship owners a little bit of hope, and then they went back up with a vengeance. And now again they're coming down. Last couple of days they have been coming down, but who knows? Okay. Now, the end result of all this, the owners and operators are working on very, very thin margins. Very thin margins. Little or no room for error. And, of course, a few tons of bunkers here and there, and the whole voyage mathematics is gone. Completely. Something which was going to make him a bit of money, he managed to get a back cargo, that's also gone. Right? So, typical, like in all other industries, typical in our shipping industry, the minute mathematics go wrong, we want to find someone who we can put under the microscope and say, look here, you are the one, you screwed it up, you're the one who is the cause of my mathematics going wrong, and you're crucified. And invariably, when a bunker loss takes place, almost around the globe, that someone is the supplier. And what do we throw back at him? Almost, in most of the cases, it is cappuccino. We lost so much bunkers because of cappuccino. To give you a quick example of this, and this is an actual case. 40 tons loss reported by a vessel after departure from Singapore. And they sent us these photographs. If you look at these photographs, there is no way that anyone will say, this is not a cappuccino. There's thorough froth on the top of the tank. You've got the bob, which is covered with air bubbles. So, when this thing came to us, we called the surveyor who attended this vessel. And this is 6 hours after the vessel had departed that we are getting all this stuff. So we called the surveyor. And that surveyor, on completion of bunkers, had taken this photograph. Completely clear bob. Not one air bubble on the bob. Now, the vessel is reporting cappuccino 6 hours after departure. And the surveyor is saying there was showing this. And, on the photograph there was a date and time and everything. So we knew that it was a photograph taken then. And any of you who is aware of cappuccino, and I'm sure people sitting in Singapore are very aware of cappuccino, you will know that cappuccino takes place then. 6 hours later, it is fairly doubtful that it will suddenly erupt from somewhere, right? Now, nonetheless, this thing had come to us, so like we put on our hunting hats and went on the hunt for the Red October to find that missing bunkers. And we did a full analysis over a good period of time. And guess what? That 40 tons was sitting right on the tanks. Okay. Now, here's an owner's perspective. And before I give you an owner's perspective, I'll just give you a small background in this. We started Royal Marine in 2007. And 2008, the markets went down. 2009, they were all the way down. Asset prices were touching fairly rock bottom. So, and we had an offer at that time. We had a chartering offer and all that stuff. And we decided, me and my close colleague, that if we need to get into, have an asset for us, a vessel, this is the time. So banks were not giving any loan outright. None of the banks was giving any maritime loan. So we had to mortgage all our properties and everything, and we managed to squeeze money enough to buy a lovely old lady, 22-year-old, we called her the Royal Aquarius. Now, soon after acquiring her, we started trading her. And the one thing that was coming out of this was the trade, and that was the freight. The only thing coming out to us was the freight. I think we all know that, right? The ship owner or operator, they get only one thing, and that's the freight. Everything else was going out. Our mortgage, the bunker, crew costs, lubes, port dues, stores, spares, everything from blue tack to bunkers to banks were taking money out of our freight. Yeah. Now, of course, when we had bought the vessel, we took care of hand-picking our crew. First ship, of course, we were very cautiously hand-picked the people who we wanted on board. Yet, after the ship had started operating, about a month after she had started operating, a month or 2 months after she had started operating, we started having a bit of a problem with the chief engineer. That started getting escalated to a point when we took a management decision to replace him. Next port, we had the new chief engineer waiting for him to relieve him. As soon as the vessel came in, the new chief engineer boarded, the old one disembarked. Within an hour, he was off. Now, later that afternoon, we got a call from the new chief engineer. The old chief engineer had gone, packed his bags, gone, taken the flight and scoot. The new chief engineer told us that there was 100 tons bunkers missing. Now, at that time, while we were paying off everything, 100 tons is suddenly missing. Reported through noon reports and everything and all that stuff was somewhere close to 500. We had less than 400 on board, actually. So, of course, can't be go and recheck and all that stuff. He comes back, yes, 100 tons is missing. We got a surveyor to go on board, confirmed 100 tons missing. At that time, it was for $450 a ton. So we had just lost $45,000 like this. Okay? So this is an area where a ship owner or operator are losing. And while some of you might try deny it, by the end of this presentation, I hope I'll have substantial proof to show where a lot of money actually is going. Okay. Of course, having lost that thing was not good enough for us, so we went in and jumped in and bought ourselves Royal Pride then. Naturally, in 2011, the market spiked up, so we got rid of both our assets. We're looking at some now, but let's see how it goes. Anyway, coming back to what we were talking about, here is something from the news reports. Some of you may have seen it. I've taken the care of hiding the names for maintaining anonymity here. But I would like to attract your attention to two of these things, where one of the senior officers of the vessel was involved in this scam. And this is one of the cases. Here's another one. a separate case again reported, and again another senior officer is involved in this. So, let me take you to an investigation that we did on one of our clients' vessels. And this vessel we attended on her on the 10th of December. And during the initial gauging of the vessel, we got some figures like this, where she had 24 tons less than what she was reporting. She was reporting a certain figure and she had in actual 24 tons short. Now, 24 tons is not a very huge amount. It is not a substantial amount. We have seen those figures. Those of you who have been sailing have seen such figures, 24 tons plus 24 tons, 30 tons plus minus and all that. We have been seeing that. But the name of this vessel sounded familiar, so when we looked back into records, we found that we had attended the same vessel on the 8th of October, 2 months earlier. And on that day, there was a 30-ton plus on board. Again, not a very large amount. 30 tons plus 2 months ago, 24 tons minus now. Not a very huge amount, but something we spoke with our client and something was not feeling very right. So we decided, they instructed us, okay, we go and do another spot check on board. So we did a spot check on the 20th of December, that's 10 days later. We did a spot check and she had 25 tons plus. Now 10 days from 10th of December to 20th of December, she had gained 50 tons, approximately 50 tons. 10 days. The table you see down there is an actual extract from the investigation report. Anyway, we went into an analysis thereafter, and through this analysis we found that the vessel had been steadily reporting a consumption of 23 tons at sea and 3.5 tons in port. We took that analysis a step further because we had the actual figures, departure Singapore, actual figures, arrival Vizag. We had all these 10-day periods. So we took it and started doing an analysis. And when we did that analysis, we found that her actual consumptions were in fact 19.4 and 2.5. That is 3.5 tons at sea. He has been giving excess, showing excess, and 1 ton in port. So now we have what the actual is, what he's been showing, right? So what we did is, again, we moved it one notch up. We had the figures for the 10th of October, 10th of December, and we had the figures for 8th of October. So we went back. We did a check all the way back. Went back and did that analysis, and this time giving her the benefit of doubt, we used that laden voyage figures, 19.4 and 2.5 for our calculations, giving the vessel the benefit of doubt. Surely she would have consumed much lesser in the ballast voyage. But anyway, this is what we found. 63 days, ladies and gentlemen, 63 days, 190 tons went missing. 190 tons in 63 days had actually gone missing. You're talking about, at that time, $612, you're talking about over 116,000 US dollars went missing in 63 days. Where? Anybody's guess. Okay, so what kind of losses are we looking at? I'm going to show you these figures, these tables. They are analysis for very recent ones, July, August and September. I'll expand it a bit for more clarity. Now, what exactly these figures are? Let me go back here. 1 second. This is showing the excess undeclared amount on board. They are declaring a certain amount on their logbooks and their noon reports and all that. But in actual, how much excess bunkers is sitting on board, nobody knows about it except those who need to. Right? So here it is. Some of the figures. Look at this. Now these two figures you're seeing, they were both on the 23rd of July on the same vessel. 2 different grades. Fuel oil and low sulfur fuel oil, same grade. Can someone tell me why does someone have to maintain 238 tons excess on board?
Buy a new car.
You tell me. Another one here. 110 tons, one vessel. And we've seen these figures very regularly. All these figures which you're seeing here, these are not the number. These are just a few samples. You see, we did what? In the month of August, there were 188 vessels attended. Out of that, these are just a few samples that I have picked up. Yeah? Looking at an analysis, a 6-monthly analysis, here is what the graphs look like. And we are interested in this red line. How does this thing come on? Yeah, there. You know, this red line. This red line, that is a line indicating the undeclared amounts on board. And in the past 6 months, on tankers, we've had close to 1,700 tons excess sitting on board, no one knows about it. Bulk carriers take the cake. They wash it all off. And when we compile all the vessels, including container ships and some other type of vessels that we attend to, 6 months, 4,300 tons excess, nobody knows about it. Over the average price, over the 6 months, that amounts to $2.5 million. Now this is only excess. Fuel saving that we achieved our clients over the past 6 months is close to $4 million. Now this fuel saving is that purple line. You see the top line? That is the fuel saving line. Now that is in addition to the excess bunkers which is sitting in the tanks, the suppliers, they give a discount, right? They make a supply to your vessel. They, as per the contract you're supposed to sign, as per the median is supposed to be as per the barge delivered figure, but the vessel has received somewhere a few 10, 15, 20 tons short, and then the suppliers, in order to maintain good relationships with you and further business, they will give you a discount. So that discount inclusive, close to $4 million is a fuel saving that our clients achieved over the last 6 months. And the number of vessels is shown here. If you see these star mark things, that is the average that is the number of vessels in that month that this analysis takes into account. So on an average 150 vessels per month analyzed in this thing, and you're getting a $4 million saving. $2.5 million out of that is excess bunkers which no one knows about. Right? Okay. In the month of September alone, the cumulative saving has been almost $700,000. Now this whole picture is coming out. Not the bigger part of all this saving is out of the bunkers which you didn't know about, which is sitting on board and you never knew about. So here, okay, we managed to save. But what about the bunkers which you've already lost? And this is one area. People, I meet my clients and lots of them are these operators and of course owners and everyone. They all look at, okay, how much is there? How much is the excess? Have you ever tried to see what have you already lost? Now, coming back to what have you lost? Again, what is the logbook showing and what the actual figures is? And now can someone in this room tell me why would a vessel declare more than what he actually has? You've got 450 tons, but you're declaring 500 tons. Why? There has to be some reason. Where has that 50 tons gone?
So more daily consumption than actual?
I'm sorry?
So more daily consumption than actual?
More daily consumptions?
To show.
To show. How do you show more daily consumptions?
Than actual.
You are showing more daily consumption than if you're showing more daily consumption, then you should have, by declaring, less in the logbook than you have in actual.
At the start point you show more. The point is why would somebody...
Why would you do that?
Because you probably made a mistake in the past.
You're talking about mistakes. Okay, let's watch these figures. Yeah. Again, zooming it up. 52 tons mistake? Or are you talking about...
Going to time charter, because going to time charter is...
These are vessels which are already on charter. Gentlemen, I'm not talking about vessels on off hire. These are not on off hire situations. They are already on charter, or they are with an owner on a voyage run. That is the time. These are not the on off hire figures here.
I will not tell the truth for you to go and find out.
And 212 tons on one vessel missing. 212 tons, come on here.
Were all these ships checked in Singapore?
These ships were checked in Singapore.
And were they all going to a particular port after Singapore?
They were coming from some region, generally coming from the east.
Okay.
Before a car has been purchased and after the car is.
That 212 tons, one single ship, that's 120,000 tons approximately gone there. Already gone. And we are not bothered about it. We are bothered about the supplier screwed up. He gave us cappuccino.
So the owners of these vessels, are they big owners, small owners, various type of owners?
All types. Everyone.
So the crew is involved. I mean, you wouldn't say that owner, a big reputed manning company or a ship management company.
We found this kind of a situation by and large with all nationalities, A to Z, all owners, big or small. The trend has been very, very similar. There's only one thing which I'll come up to, which has shown a trend going downwards. In the last 6 months, I'll come up to that. Anyway, from all this thing, can you tell me how many of us are actually aware of what the true consumption on board is? I doubt we even know. We are going by what the noon figures are showing, what the noon reports are showing. And we bank completely on the noon reports. We take it that, okay, ship has declared this. We are talking about going green here. In order to go green, I think we all will agree, first thing that we need to know is what is the true consumption. Right? If we don't know the true consumption, what are we trying to bring down further? So, anyway, so I've spoken about most of the things which I needed to. I'm sure you'll have quite a lot of questions moving forward. But anyway, there are some key things that we've identified that really needs to be done in this. Number one, training. And this is very, very laser-targeted training. We really need to hit the training at the right place. One of those factors is commercial understanding. People have zero, and we have been going on board these vessels for the past 8 years. We've realized the ship staff's commercial awareness is very close to zero, if not zero itself. Number two, of course, I'm not very qualified to talk about this, but the technical aspect of it. Trim, efficiency, heat losses, all those things. I'm sure you people are already looking into it. And then the third one, of course, which the HR division and Captain Arvind would be able to most comment about, is the morals and ethics part of it. So that is as far as the training is concerned. The next very, very, very key factor here is intensive spot checks. And when I talk about intensive, means very, very intensive spot checks. Now, take a look at, we're going back to that graph which I had shown you earlier. Excuse me. If you see the red line here, when we intensified after discussions with our clients, and we targeted, it's not just that the bunker surveys or bunker delivery surveys and all that stuff. Vessel is coming in or is in such and such place, go check, do a spot check. It doesn't cost too much, but look at this graph. It's dipped down. Starting from May when we intensified that thing, there was a dip down. So there is a way of actually getting results here. Back to this intensive bunker spot checks. And last but not the least is your bunker investigations. Believe you me, none of us, and including our ship staff friends, good old friends on the ship staff, want to get involved in an investigation or do paperwork and answer questions. get hold of people, you look at those figures, you find something fishy, more or less, ask questions. Get someone to do an investigation on it. Of course, you've got to be able to ask very pointed questions, so you need to do an investigation. You need to. It doesn't cost much. Probably 2 tons of your bunker fuel price, or 2 or 3 tons of bunker fuel price for an investigation. It's well worth the chance. Do that investigation, you will have a full detailed report, and go and ask those people the question. Once you start asking pointed questions, you will deter the ship staff from indulging in these grey activities. Anyway, when we started Royal Marines, one of our principal goal was through a proactive approach to help our clients in increasing their profits by mitigating and bringing down their losses. And I think over the last few years we've been reasonably successful in achieving that. Anyway, any of you who require any guidance or assistance in this particular regard, our contact details are right there. We'll be very, very glad to assist. At a small fee, of course. Thank you, everyone.